Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing excellent today. My name is Nasia. Welcome to all the attendees from ESCOM NTCSA. And I would like to introduce our speaker of today. Her name is Veronica, and she will be focusing on mental awareness, mental health awareness, and resilience. Over to you, Veronica.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Veronica, and I am a registered counselor. I'm a HPCSA registered counselor for just over 5 years now, and I will be taking you through our mental health and well-being workshop. And as Nasia mentioned, our workshop is an hour. But we are going to, if we can please mute, if I can please ask everyone to mute, please. Okay. Okay, as I was saying, can you guys hear me?
Hear you, Veronica.
Thank you. All righty. So I was saying that, okay, our workshop is an hour. We're going to reserve 15 minutes for questions. In the meantime, if anything that I mentioned during the workshop while I'm busy presenting sticks out to you, or there's a question you want to, please put it on the chat. And Nasia will just mend that for me, please, so that I don't get distracted. And I will begin, like I said, 15 minutes of the last 15 minutes, we are going to reserve it for questions. So please, please, please ask some questions. I would like that. It will also not just help you, but it will also help someone else in the workshop who might be scared to ask the question. And I will begin. So I just want to welcome all of you and thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. So just a brief, I don't know, I think you guys are aware of what mental health is. And I know that there's a lot of stigma to what mental health is. It's not pathology. Pathology meaning it's not just the psychiatric aspect of it where people deal with schizophrenia, bipolar, and all of that. When people think mental health, they think those pathological issues that people face. Basically, mental health is really, it is that, but it encompasses other things as well. It is being well in your mind. It is your well-being, which is from a holistic perspective. We're not just looking at the depression, the anxiety, and all that stuff. But we're also looking at how are you coping with those things, your day-to-day life. Most of you are probably married. Most of you have partners, you have spouses, you have children, you have family members that go through stuff, and those things do affect you as a human being. You are at work, you guys are employees. There's work stress that you are going through even at the moment while I'm talking to you. So, and all these things at the end of the day, they affect your productivity, right? They affect your mental health, they affect your physical health. And what I mean by physical health is mental health manifests more in like physically than it does, because we don't pay attention to the mental stuff. And I'll talk to our gentlemen, especially men think, it's okay, I can handle anything. They brush things off because they're not allowed to cry. Society has told them it's not okay to cry. Men don't cry. You need to be strong. You need to take it as a man and all that stuff. With women, it's a bit easier. When we are overloaded, when we're feeling overwhelmed, we will pick up our phone and we'll call Chomi and we'll hash it out. We'll cry it out. We'll laugh about it. And then we'll call our mom and our sisters, whoever will listen. We will do that. So we do tend to take our stress out a whole lot more than the men do. So this is about holistic well-being. It's not just your physical, your mental only, your emotional, but it is also about your physical. It is about your financial wellness as well, because our finances also affect how we feel. Okay. Like I said, mental wellness is just well-being and how you cope with stress, also realizing your abilities in terms of who am I, your purpose in life also contributes, and how that plays out in your life contributes to how well you are holistically. Okay. Most of us are juggling. We are juggling life. We're juggling a whole lot of things. We work long hours. We have families to take care of. We have responsibilities as well as the financial pressure. I mean, don't get me started on that one. There's a whole lot of things that we are all going through. Just the country on its own. Economically, we are not in a good place. I mean, our unemployment rate is close to almost 50%. Right? And all those things do affect us as human beings. We have a whole lot of other things that we are responsible for. Everything is
Veronica, we can't hear you.
Yeah. When you mute everyone, you mute me too. So I'm so sorry about that. So when you mute everyone, then it mutes me as well. So I was talking and I realized that I'm muted. So, okay. So what I was saying is, including the financial issues also affect our well-being, because most people, and I will tell you this now, most people struggle with insomnia, mostly because of the financial issues, the financial burdens that we are carrying. And if you're Black, there's an extra Black tax that you're paying because we have to take care of our family members and all of that stuff, right? So all of that, if that burden is placed on one person or two people who have to support their own family as well as their extended family, it becomes a bit too much. And all of this, like I said, it causes an imbalance, right? We start feeling fatigued because if you don't sleep enough, if you don't get your 8 hours sleep, and I know people will be like, oh no, I just need 4 hours and I'm good to go. No, you're not. You think you are, but you're not. What it does is, not getting enough sleep leads to you getting inflammation. It leads to having you being irritable. It leads to you being having anxiety. It also leads to obesity. More than the things that we eat, lack of sleep makes it hard for us to not lose weight. It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't sleep enough, if your body does not rest enough, it still does, because that's when the body is resting, that's when it does burn a lot of calories. That's if you exercise. So a lot of us also might find ourselves having headaches. We have, we say, my migraine. We label it my migraine. We have migraines. We have, stiff shoulders, lower back also. That is where most of our stress sits. And we keep going to the doctor, and it's been 6 months, 8 months, and some of us are taking sleeping pills, and it's now not helping anymore because it's been months of taking this thing. But at the end of the day, what all these physical symptoms are telling us is that we are not emotionally in a good place. We are not psychologically and emotionally in a good place. But because we tend to just shove those things aside, we don't deal with our emotional issues. We don't deal with our psychological issues. We don't speak about what is bothering us. And when I say speak, I'm not necessarily saying, you need to tell everyone your business, but you find trusted people that can help you with that. Even if it's just listening, even if they can't solve your problem, but having someone to listen, having that support structure is very important. Seeing a professional is also very important, because with us, our job is we do not judge. You are our therapeutic space is meant for clients to come there and to be free, to be listened to without being judged, and without having your business being, thrown around in the workplace or among your family or friends, and everyone knows what's going on with you. So that's also a very good thing for us to, like, just try and familiarize with ourselves with. And like I said, especially the men don't talk a lot, but men tend to suffer when they, if you're after 40, you start getting diseases like, your strokes, your heart attacks, and all those things. So in order just to help combat, because men take a lot of stress and that pressure builds up and it has to go somewhere, has to be released, or it will break you. Okay. So, what is stress? Stress is basically just a response to pressure or a threat to us, to our body, and it affects our bodies. It affects how our bodies function, both emotionally, psychologically, and physically. So, stress is okay. There's nothing wrong with everyday stress. It's okay if it's manageable. But the problem starts with stress. It's when then it starts getting to a place where it is consistent. It is, the pressure becomes too much and it's overwhelming all the time when you experience stress. There is nothing wrong with stress, like I said. But when then it's prolonged, when it starts affecting every other areas of our life where we're not functional, where we start losing our concentration, where we start having blackouts, and you drive to work, you get to work and you don't remember how you got to work, but you made it. But you can't recall what happened. If you were to trace back your journey from home to work or work to home, and you find that I don't remember how many traffic lights I drove past or what did I see, and all of those things. When you get to that point, just know then the stress is it's too much. Your body is now functioning on autopilot. You are not in control. You're not aware of your surroundings. You're not aware of your responses. You're not aware of the things around you, right? And then with, I think burnout, if I can put it this way, I would say burnout is basically when your stress is stressed. I hope that makes sense. So you're overstressed, basically. You are emotionally exhausted to such an extent that some people actually then might start having suicidal thoughts. The stress is so bad, especially from a work perspective, because I know that we need to give our all to our jobs. We need these jobs. We constantly being, pushed to do better. That's how we're going to get our promotion. That's how we're going to be recognized and get recognition at work. You need to keep pushing yourself, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with pushing yourself. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be better. There's nothing wrong with wanting more and wanting that promotion and all of that, right? The accolades that come with the job. Part of us as human beings is we work towards a purpose, and our job sometimes is part of our purpose. But I will tell you one thing. I I always tell my clients this: as a human being, you are juggling two balls on either side of your hands, right? That's basically how you look at your life. If you were to prioritize the things that matter in your life. And then I always say, look at your hands. Your right hand, you have your glass ball. Your glass ball consists of your glass balls, right? It's your family, your kids, your spouse, your partner. It's your health, both physical and mental, because should one of those things fall, it breaks. You can put it together, you can try, but it will never be the same. It's glass, it breaks. If you get a stroke, half of your body, it becomes non-functional, or it is a bit lazy, right? And now you only have half. So you have your health, but it's not 100% complete, right? And then on your left, you're juggling what I call bouncy balls. Doesn't matter what kind of a ball. It can be a tennis ball, rugby ball, soccer ball, whatever it is, right? And your work, your job actually falls into that. As much as we might think it's a glass ball, it's not a glass ball. Our job is not a glass ball. It does, if you break it, if it doesn't break, you can always find another job. You can create you can leave your job and do something else. There's always a way to make money, right? So it's not a glass ball, but we normally treat it as if it is a glass ball, but it's not. So it is a bouncy ball. You can start consulting if you lose your job. You get retrenched, you go and you open up, whatever hobby you had, you decide you're going to turn that hobby into a job, and that's what you do. So our job is always on the bouncy side of life. So it's a bouncy ball, you can always pick it up. All right. So if you guys can please keep that into perspective, that our job is not really a glass ball, it doesn't break. But if you're not home to see your kids grow up, and you will miss a whole lot of those years, time you cannot get back. Okay. So some of the signs to look out for in terms of burnout is, like I said, the insomnia, the mood changes, the fatigue, always being the irritability. A lot of us get, very irritable with everything and everyone else around us. Okay. And then we move on to how do we build a healthier routine, right? And when I talk about a healthier routine, I mean, how do we take this holistic view of our lives? How do we, keep ourselves physically, emotionally, and psychologically healthy, right? Like I said, sleep. It's so, so important. We take it for granted, but it is very important. Hydration. And hydration here, we are talking about, water, not popping bottles, not talking about alcohol. And part of another thing is, we use alcohol as a coping mechanism. When we watch TV, people come back from work and, one glass of wine, and they tell you that it's healthy. And I'm not disputing that. It is. But it still should not be something that we take on a daily basis. That's not healthy. That's not natural. It also desensitizes your body to start, because then you'll start with one glass of wine, then one glass of wine, you don't feel it anymore in your system, right? Because now you've built that resistance in your system, in your blood, that recognizes that I need two. You can handle two. I think one of the biggest problems we experience as South Africans, I don't know how many of you have seen this. Last year in December, over 10 days, this was not December 1st, but I think around the 15, 14, 12, somewhere there, South Africans spend 7.8 billion rands on alcohol. And that should tell you a lot. That's a lot of money to be spent within 2 weeks. It was within a 2-week period of December. It wasn't all 31 days. It was just in 2 weeks. They spent 7.8 billion rands on alcohol. And South Africa ranks in the world top 10, within the top 10 of the most drinkers of alcohol. So a lot of us, basically what this says is, South Africans are functional alcoholics. And we normally take that, we use that as an excuse to be like, but I can drink and still wake up and go to work, wash and be okay. Yes, you can. Like, that's what a functional alcoholic is. We are able to go to work. But at the end of the day, you are busy slowly poisoning yourself. The fact that you're able to consume so much alcohol and still wake up and be functional and have your cognitive abilities still working, it means then you're a functional alcoholic. And it might not show now. You might be able to handle your alcohol. Oh no, I can take my alcohol. I don't get into fights. I don't get into accidents. I've never been in an accident, and I drink almost every day. And what you don't realize is there is poisoning that is actually happening inside of you. Your capacity to handle alcohol keeps increasing and increasing, and it increases to dangerous levels. There's a reason why there's limits to how much we can take, mandatory, that is. So another thing is, we need to include movement. We need to exercise. And I know sometimes, you guys work hard, you guys are, bombarded with work and family, just juggling life in general. But it, as much as possible, as much as you possibly can, include exercise in your daily routine. Anything between 4 to 5 days, even 3 is fine. Just half an hour every day, even walking just after work, just walking where you stay, if it's safe to do so, just taking a walk. Even if you go around, if you live in a complex estate, whatever, just going around there a few times, that will help you in so many ways. If you can't afford gym, or if you don't have a gym close, or work is too hectic for you to actually incorporate going to a gym, just try and do that for yourself as much as possible. It is good for your mind and it's good for your body, and it will also help with the flushing out of alcohol or any other toxins that we might have. All right. Another thing is creating boundaries. We all need to create boundaries. And I know with work, like I said, we use work actually as a coping mechanism. We work so hard because we are trying to run away from the other things that are, affecting us, some of the issues that we are going through. So we literally like tunnel vision, and I'm going to just, focus on work, 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 so that I don't have to deal with my marriage breaking down. I don't have to deal with my sick mother. I don't have to deal with my narcissistic boss. Just put myself and drown myself in work. And that works for a little bit, but you will get to a point where you will burn out, because chances are you're not eating okay, you're not exercising, and you're not sleeping. And all of that will, at the end of the day, it will put you down. Your body will always decide what it wants to do. It will bring those headaches. It will bring, that back pain, that lower back pain, but it is stress. And you'll keep going to the doctor, but nothing's gonna work. So I am pleading with you, let's create a work-life balance as much as possible. And I know sometimes it's impossible because you're on standby or whatever, but as much as you can, taking time off, even if work doesn't allow you when you're supposed to be working to actually take time off, but try and take leave when you need to, those holidays when they come, and I know, like I said, it can be difficult because things need to get done, things can't wait, but as much as you possibly can, when leave comes or when you have leave due, take it. It is important. Take it and do nothing. Take it and rest, take it and do some self-care. Take care of you. And I'm gonna speak more on that. Okay. Okay. Before I get to that part, let's talk about our finances. And like I said, finances are the biggest reason people divorce. It's money. People think it's cheating. No, I think cheating is number 3 or 4, somewhere there. But one of the biggest reasons people break up or divorce, it's because of money. So learning, because money can be stressful. Everything we do, everything we need depends on money. Money makes things happen. it is important. And so learning to manage our money will reduce some of the stress that we have, being able to budget appropriately, being able to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. We track how much we are spending, and when we are stressed, and I think ladies, most of us, right, when we are stressed, we just want to add things to the cart, right? Like add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. That's us. And things get delivered. Things are so easy. We go to Shein and we just put things on the cart. And that's us dealing with our stress because we don't want to confront some of the things that we're facing. Or to us, it's also a form of self-care. I'm gonna go shopping. We do things like that. But if it's not budgeted for, is it a need? Is it a want? Making that distinction also help us to be able to make sure that, if we paid on the 30th, we don't run out of money by the 10th of the next month, right? And that takes discipline. And most of us are not disciplined. Most of us tend to be impulsive when we are stressed, where whatever it is that's stressing us will lead us to being impulsive and we'll buy things we don't need. We'll just buy simply because. And there's an example here that says use the 50-30-20 rule. So needs, definitely, your power at home, your electricity, food, and all those things, paying for the cars and all that. And then there's wants, and wants are really not things that we need. And sometimes we can do without. Like I'm saying, most of our wants is us avoiding dealing with something else. And so therefore we transfer, to going and spending, and instead of dealing with whatever is stressing us. And then there's the savings, so your 20% of your salary, then you put that into savings. It's a very helpful way to cope. And I know that, like I said, South Africa is going through, not just South Africa, worldwide, the increase, the lifestyle increase, the expenses, and everything's just getting more and more expensive, right? But instead of us becoming negative about it, and creating financial anxiety that is unnecessary, going back to that 50-30-20 rule, doing things like that, right? Being able to assess, am I able, is this a need? Is this a want? Do I really need this thing? Is it a want or a need? And why do I need it? What am I going through that's pushing me to want to go and buy something to make myself feel better? Will I feel better if when I buy this thing? Or am I just putting, a bandage to a wound instead of dealing with the wound? I'm just closing it up, and that takes self-awareness, right? So that goes with those, what we call those grounding tools, where we pause and we think about our decision, where we're not just impulsive, we're not reactive, but we think about what we're about to buy and how does this affect, not just me, but my household. Will I still have transport money, petrol money? If an emergency happens, will I still be able to drive to KZN for that funeral and things like that? So it's very important for us to assess. It's very important for us to pause and think about our decisions. And like I said, that takes maturity, emotional maturity, that is. Okay. And then work-life balance. Shush. This one can be a bit difficult, like I said. When you think about the demands of the job, what needs to be done. And sometimes it's not up to us. We can't decide. Sometimes we can't even make a decision on our own to say, no, I'm not gonna, I can't do this because that's what work demands. But like I said, being able to set time to create those boundaries, to say, okay, so even if I do work hard because this project needs to be done, because there's a deadline I need to meet at the end of the day, should I need to take time, if I'm, if it's me pushing for the next 2-3 weeks for this project to get done and get it implemented and whatever, then allocate yourself some time, take time off, because you were working hard for those 3 weeks with very little sleep, and your patterns are all thrown. You couldn't even go to the gym. You are not even eating healthy, because whether you're on the road all the time or whatever it is, then you take time off, apply for that leave and take a few days off and reset yourself. Take care of yourself. Be aware of what is happening in you internally, also assess, because like I said, we tend to be irritable. We tend to be, not so nice to work with, because we are functioning on very little sleep, very little healthy eating, lack of movement, and all of that. Then our body is out of whack because of that. And I think another biggest thing is, you finish that project, right, that I was talking about earlier. It was 3 weeks of non-stop pushing and whatever. And then there's another project, and your boss wants to rope you in on that. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to other things as well. It's not just work. It's okay to say, I don't want to hang out. And most of us find it very hard to say no. We really struggle to say no. And we also want to justify why I can't. No, because I want to read a book. I'm not going to that party because I want to read a book. And they'll be like, but you want to read a book. That's it? Yes, that's it. All right. So saying no, as much as it is, is one of the most unnatural things to do, but you do learn how to say no, because it is not working for you. It is not good for you. It doesn't, it add anything positive to your life at the moment. It will just make you tired and cranky come Monday when you're supposed to go to work. So it's okay to say no to things that don't serve you. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk more about the resilience and the mindfulness aspect of it, right? And these are just so mindfulness is basically, it's the awareness of what is happening within me. And I have been talking about it. I just didn't label it mindfulness, but it is being aware of what is happening in me. Why am I feeling so tired all the time? Instead of saying, okay, I'll just pop a Red Bull. Question yourself. If you're popping Red Bulls every single day, 2-3 cans of Red Bull every single day, something is wrong. That's not normal, and it should not happen. That amount of caffeine just to kick you, because those things are supposed to kick you into action, not support you or be an anchor of you being functional. It's not meant for that. And it's also very dangerous for us, right? A lot of people wake up with coffee and all of that. And there's nothing wrong with it. But when we overdo it, then we are not aware of what is happening within us, right? And some of the ways we can do mindfulness is when it's breathing. And this is one of the most simplest techniques, especially it works even if you have, anger issues. If you're a person who externalizes when there's a conflict, mindful breathing will help you. So basically, the breathing is, you just breathe from your stomach through your nose and then out your mouth, and you count. Do it. And normally I say count from 20 down to 0. So you do that, you take that, you hold it for like 2 seconds, you let it out through your mouth, you breathe it in and you let it out. That helps a whole lot. Even in meetings, heated meetings, it's okay to just say, okay, can you please take 5? Can we not talk about this right now? Even at home, and you just take a minute just to compose yourself. Also, it lowers your heart rate and takes away that anxiety, or it blows that anger, and make it a bit less, that if that anger outburst will not come out. So doing that helps a lot. right? And then there's also, a grounding technique that we use, so when you realize that, this anxiety is kicking in, some people feel like, when the anxiety is too much, it actually turns into a panic attack. And it feels like a panic attack feels like you're having a heart attack. Whereas you're not having a heart attack, it's just a panic attack. It's because the anxiety has blown over. You're very anxious, whether about the project or work or health scare, whatever it is, waiting for results or whatever. So basically, you start naming 5 things that you can see. So you just look around wherever you are and name, okay, you see a laptop, a desk, you see a bag, whatever it is that's around you. And then you name 4 things that you can touch. And then you name 3 things that you can hear. It could be cars outside, someone talking, a phone ringing, whatever. And then 2 things that you can smell, as well as 1 thing that you can taste, right? So that is, part of another mindful technique that you can use, right? And then there's also mindful walking, even at work. Sitting at a desk, every hour we are encouraged to stand up and walk around. And there's a reason for that. Because one, when you're sitting, the blood flow is constricted between, your waist going down your feet and your upper body. So you need to loosen all of that, because then the blood just gets stuck in one place. So moving helps the heart rate to start, working faster as well, right? Making sure that the blood in our body is moving the way it's supposed to be. And even, like I said, even at home after work, detoxing just by walking, being mindful of what you're seeing, observing your surroundings, just taking a walk. It could be with your partner, just to catch up, even to catch up. You can do it there. It will also help things to not blow over when you are walking. You guys can have those conversations, the hard conversations, or just normal catching up with the day and whatever, or doing it with your children. It just gives you that time of uninterrupted family time with your kids by walking or riding bikes, whatever it is, in a safe environment, of course. And another thing that I know we don't do a lot, it's journaling, right? So journaling it's not a diary, it's just journaling. It's basically you write how you feel, how your day was. If you were to assess your day, like today, when you get home later, maybe I said something that stuck with you or that made you question, write it down. Journaling helps us to release what's on the inside if we don't prefer to talk about it, but it helps us to look at things objectively. And even if something happened in our day that was negative, it helps us to actually then re-look at ourselves, and question, why did I react like that when the colleague spoke to me? What was happening? Oh, I received a call from an ex-boyfriend or whatever the case may be, right? So obviously then now that disturbed your flow for the day, and you're no longer that nice person, or that you were no longer there and aware of where you are and how to react to the people around you. And then we look at resilience. So basically what resilience is just the ability to bounce back, right? From stress, from adversity, from a trauma or a setback. And we all have been through that. You guys are here today because you've suffered some things, you've experienced some things, you've gone through some tough, hard, hurtful, painful things. Some of you were raised in environments that were not conducive, but today you were able to get out of it. And today you are an employee. You managed to go to school. You managed to, to be a good father, a good husband, a good wife, a model citizen. Just being alive after what you guys have been through, it's a sign that there is resilience, and resilience gets built over time. The more adversity we face, the more resilient we become. I mean, not that, we want to be tested all the time, but it has built you into the person that you are today, right? It has helped you a lot. So with resilience, one of the things or some of the key components is self-awareness. Most of us guys are not self-aware. And I'll give you an example. When someone cuts you off, right, while you're driving, in a not so nice way and whatever. I mean, most of us react. Most of us have road rage, right? We live in South Africa, after all. Road rage is normal. Forget the taxi drivers. We think it's okay. We flip people, we scream, we sit on our horn and we press it so that the other person knows. But what leads to that? Why are you like that? Why are you reacting in that way? Right? It's a situation outside of your control. Ask yourself, why are you mad that someone cut you off? And because at the end of the day, it doesn't really help. That other person will move on with their life, go to wherever they were going, but you're still pissed. And guess what? When you get to work, you will talk about this person who cut you off and what you did and all of that. Makes you mad all over again, and you will tell it to your spouse when you get home, and what does that do? Just keeps you in a cycle of negativity. But letting it go is more worthwhile, because then it resets your mood for the rest of the day, right? So it also goes with, I had a client who said that she took out scissors, because they were in a heated meeting. And this is not funny, because that was violent and she could have lost her job. But the conversation in the meeting got so heated, she wanted to stab the other person. Emotional regulation, being aware, that self-awareness is very, very important, guys, because for you to go and reach for something because you want to stab someone and this is a work environment, what leads to that? And that's very important. So emotional awareness is very important. Regulating yourself is very important. Being irritable, being snappy, and all of that. Always hold yourself back and ask why. Why did I react this way to the child this morning when all they asked for was that they don't want paloni, they want jam for school, and I flipped? Well, one, it could be because you guys were late and now you have to restart doing the lunchbox from scratch, and that's it. Right? Being aware of that, then you're like, okay, now I know where that came from. It's because we're late, and I knew that if then I'm going to be stuck in traffic, and then I won't make my meeting, blah, 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 blah. So all of that is very important, right? So there's also the optimism, right? We need to see our setbacks as, just temporary. Nothing ever lasts, guys. You've been through a lot, but nothing ever lasts. It doesn't. Everything always has a way of coming for a season, and it goes. But there's a reason for that. What is it teaching you? Always ask yourself that. What am I supposed to learn from this person cheating on me? Where am I supposed to learn? Sometimes you're just being moved. You need to move and leave the situation you're in instead of staying in it because it's abusive or it's toxic, right? And seeking help. Part of the reason we become resilient is because we're able to ask for help. I am struggling. I need you to help me with this. I need you to please, take my kids. I need you to, help me carry this burden. I need to talk. I don't need you to say anything. Just listen. Let me cry it out. Let me vent, let me rant, whatever it is, and have someone on the other side who gives you that space, that safety net to be able to do all those things, right? And that's, and that helps us a lot. It builds our resilience knowing that we have a support system. Please don't underestimate having a support system. And I mean people that you can trust or a professional that you can go to, not just everyone blabbering to everyone your business, but people that are your roots, and I wish I could talk about your roots people, your branch people, and your leaf people. Knowing those people is a different, creates a whole lot of difference. You can't talk deep stuff with your leaf people, but those are the roots, are the people that you can talk deep stuff with because they've been there, they know you, they understand you, and they are there for you, right? And So I think another important part of resilience is, being able to not fall into those negative patterns where you start ruminating about, oh yeah, why is my life like this? My boss at work is horrible. My spouse doesn't treat me well. My kids are misbehaving. It's like everything in my life is wrong. Everything is going wrong. Moving out of that mindset of looking at things in a negative way is very, very helpful. Trying to see the positive. Sometimes it's the child is like that because they're a teenager. It's their job. Teenagers are there to test our boundaries, to test us. And, so seeing things not as, always negative as if we are the victim, but everything that happens in your life creates resilience and it's there to build you. So, and I know it's hard to look at at things positively when it's negatively affecting you at that moment. But at the end of the day, you guys have done it. You've been there before.